nothing wrong with working as a waitress or as a waiter or anything like that. But that used to be a job I had back in the day. And my friends, or those that know this, that I've always shared it. I like to share my journey. It's also very, it's important for me to be able to share my journey, actually, especially because I'm a career coach. Because everybody see or hear about where I am today, and they like, oh, okay, maybe it's another luck, maybe it's another magic, maybe it's another one of them, you know what I mean, right? But it's not. It's not. For real though, I had no idea how strange this will be until I'm sat here now, leaning towards my microphone and trying to record this introduction for my podcast. My name is Esther, and this is Not For My Village People podcast. It's the 10th episode of Not For My Village People. Can I get some claps? Can I get some praises? Can I get some ooh-ah? I can't believe I got here. 10th episode. And thank God for podcasting. Thank God for this recording thing. Now I know I have some bad habits. Some of the things that I find out that I actually say a lot more than normal, like more than a regular person should. I like saying, yeah, right. I like saying, oh, yeah. I like saying, sisters, misters. I like saying, oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. Isn't that funny? Anyways, we can always learn and unlearn. So hopefully I will continue to identify some of the silly habits that I have on this podcast. But yeah, it's exciting. The 10th episode of Not For My Village People. And today, let's go down to real of real. Like, what I'm going to be talking about today, or what I'm planning to talk about today. I know some of you are already, you've had some highlights here and there, especially those that have ever attended any of my webinars, any of my programs, events, teachings, coachings, and things like that. You've probably heard me share some of the stories. But I recently went on a trip to celebrate like 3 birthdays that I've missed in the past couple years. And it was amazing. I can't wait to do a recording specifically about lessons learned on that particular trip, or the heavenly downloads I had on that particular trip. But before I go further into today, let me quickly read this thing that sort of highlights some of the things I'm going to be talking about today. You may think you've got a long way to go, but you need to look back at how you've already come. You may not be everything you want to be, but at least you can thank God that you're not what you used to be. Oh, that's like Esther said that right there. Honestly, that's like a me saying, because I am always just like every other person, right? I'm sure you're thinking, yeah, you do that too. Like every other person where you're like, I'm not where I want to be yet. I'm far, actually. The dream's big. The future is brighter than bright, like I like to say. I'm not there yet, but oh, sisters, misters. Oh, sisters, misters, I have come a long way. I have come a long way. And in recent times, I have found myself doing some moments, like just the other month, I think it was in September. Was it in September when I just had the baby? My second daughter, my dad was around. I think it was in December, actually. It was in December. My little sister came around as well from the States. She came to visit. My dad happened to visit around that time as well. And because they've not seen each other in years now. And we went to the Ivy to have I think a lit lunch. And while we were being served, something came to me, like, do you call it an epiphany or something? It came to me and I realized, oh my goodness, I used to be that girl serving. Now, nothing wrong with working as a waitress or as a waiter or anything like that. But that used to be a job I had back in the day. And my friends, or, those that know this, that I've always shared it. I like to share my journey. It's also very, it's important for me to be able to share my journey, actually, especially because I'm a career coach. Because everybody see or hear about where I am today, and they like, oh, okay, maybe it's another luck. Maybe it's another magic. maybe it's another one of them, you know what I mean, right? But it's not. It's not. And a friend was telling me recently, a friend, I did some celebrations in the past couple of weeks now. And a friend was telling me, she said, Esther, you're that friend that I have that, if people look at you from afar, they might be thinking, oh, yeah, those lucky people, yeah, very successful, whatever people. And I'm thinking, especially when she eat that word successful, and I'm thinking, girl, what's successful? No, I'm not there yet. I'm so far away from where I want to be. But then she said it, and I let her finish what she was saying. And she said, you are not one of those people that stumbled into success. And I felt it. Ooh. Oh, I felt that. She said, you're not, if people are stumbling into success, you did not stumble into your success. You crawled, you tilled, you harvested, you planted, you went in under the rain, under the sun, and someone somewhere is listening to this now and thinking, you didn't go through nothing. I went through hell and back. Yes, your definition, but this is my story. And again, like I love to say, this is my platform. I'm going to tell my own story, not your story. So I'm telling my story today. And I felt that. She said, you did not stumble into success because I saw you work for this. You work for this. But I'm thinking, yes, I worked for this, but I am still working for this. I'm still working for more. I still want more for myself. I am still far from it. So when I read that, they said, you may think you've got a long way to go, but you need to look back at how far you've already come. And that's what I'm doing today. I'm doing a look back on how far you've come. And maybe it might be unripe actually to do that, because like I said, I'm not there yet, but I don't want to get there before I do things like this, because in another 5 years, in another 2 year, I want to be able to do this again and still look at how far I have come. How far I have come. I recently turned 35. Jeez. Oh my God. And it's just been, yeah. You get that minute where you're thinking about everything and everything you've been through in life. I was actually born as a premature baby. I was a premature baby, a 6 month old premature baby, a premature baby, which was the second at the time, was the second in second born of my parents. They had my big sister first, but they were so young that they had to leave my sister with their parents to take care of the parents so they could go to the city, the big city. I don't know if any one of you have that story where, your parents came from another state and they had to move to the big city to work, like in the UK. Yeah, some people will leave wherever they live, they will go to London to work and things like that. So they had to go to their own version of London back in the day to go and hustle to find greener pastures. And after 5 years, actually, there is 5 years gap between myself and my big sister. After 5 years, they decided to have this baby, but one thing or the other went wrong. And yeah, my mom went into labor at 6 months old. At 6 months, when I was just still 6 months, the baby was still 6 months. And just think about it. Back then, that year, 1980, whatever. Back then, just imagine. Back then, they could not afford it. They had to leave a particular state to move to another state to go and also for more money, right? And now they're pregnant again, not because they thought of it before they decided to go on that journey, but they wanted another child, and they did, they had to go for it. And now the baby is going to come before time, and they could not afford to put me in an incubator. It was in Africa. They couldn't afford to put me in an incubator that particular period. It was so bad that the doctors had to tell them, you know what? Our advice to you, you're still young, you would have babies, more babies to come. Trust me, my dad ended up with 11 of us already. My mom only has 5 of us, but my dad has got 11. So maybe if they were thinking, if they knew their future at the time, they probably would have listened to the medical doctors and decided not to keep me. But they thought about it and they decided to keep me anyways. They kept me despite the fact that they confirmed, the doctor said, if you keep this child, she will not leave another month. She will not leave another week, but they decided to still keep me. I was sick a lot. They went through a whole lot. But then the breakthrough happened. And my dad, one way or the other, found this, should I say sudden wealth? Nah, I wouldn't say sudden wealth, because I'm sure he worked hard as well to get to whatever he was able to get into then. And he started a business in chemical, actually. And things changed for them, which was where I got my name from. I've got this African name, this Nigerian name that most people would only give to a boy, a male child. Yeah, actually, that's the name is for a male child. And I have a story about that as well, because I remember getting to Belgium and I went through some of the immigration issues I went through in Belgium, and my social worker at the time took me to the Nigerian embassy in Belgium, and they said to them, they at the embassy, they told my social worker that they don't trust me because my name belongs to a boy, and she's a girl, so she's definitely carrying someone else's passport. Just imagine. But then I had to tell a story about how I came by my name, because it's a famous story in my family. A lot of people, they try and find a way or the other to remind me about that story. The name was just very befitting for the situation my parents were at the time. And they couldn't think about my dad, especially. I know the name came from my dad. My dad specifically could not find a better name than that. And the name means, the Lord has opened the Lord has opened my way to wealth. I am now blessed, something in the lines of that. Oluwashino, it's a Nigerian Yoruba name. And I love the name so much, trust me, even though I don't really go by the name, because I don't like people ruining the name for me when they pronounce it. So I go by Esther. But when I talk about how far you've come, how far have you come? I stopped the story earlier about the restaurant we took my dad to, myself and my sisters and my girls. And when we're being served, I was looking at this lady that was serving us, and I just said to them, I just blurted it out. I said, that used to be me. At a point in my life back in Belgium when I had what was career? I just wanted to put food on my table. I just wanted to have the opportunity to pay my bills. I just wanted to leave. I just wanted to know that there's something in the refrigerator for me to eat the next day, or the same day, actually. So I got every type of jobs that I could do. The very first job I did in my life was waiting on people in front of an amusement park toilet. Back in the day, I think this was back in 2005, 2006, I think 2006, yeah. My first pay at the time was €6 and 25 cents, €6 25 cents, yeah. That was what my hourly rate was. And I remember my mom calling me one of those days, and she was like, and I told her, I was like, Mom, I'm working. She was like, don't let your dad know you're working. And I'm like, that, like, okay, I need a job. I need to pay my bills, and I need to just, I need to be responsible. I need to feel responsible doing something. So I would wait on people. It was an amusement park. It's called Bobby Island. And those that come to the toilet, they will drop like €1 or 1 or 25, whatever coins they are, they will drop it in there. They go to the toilet, and I will go into the toilet and clean up after them. So it's ready and clean for the next person to come to the toilet and use it. I moved from that particular job, and I learned a lot of lessons. And now it's not about the job. That's one thing I have taken with me everywhere I have worked. Now I've done a lot of jobs in my life, up until now. I'm still very young, and I know I'm still probably going to do a few more. You can change your career at any point in time. I do feel very settled in the career path I am in now. I'm in compliance, by the way, guys, and I do feel settled in it. Excuse me. But yeah, you never know. I might decide I want to change in another couple of years. When I left that particular job as a student job, it was a student job. We call it student werk in Dutch. It was a student job. I remember I had to, because I was still studying. Oh, I feel like I've always studied. I'm studying now again. I'm back to school. But I was still studying then, so I had to go to school, and from school I needed an after school work so I could pay my bills, because I didn't go to school like every one of you guys did. Like some of you did, where you can, it's midterm break and you get to go home to meet your parents, and they fill the account up again for you, and you have something to spend at school. You actually don't have to work. I had to work. So I went to school and I had to go to work. After school, I will go to work. At some point, I did cleaning because, hourly availability as well. Some jobs will not take you because you're not flexible with time, and because I had lectures to go to and all sorts like that. So I would do cleaning job. I would clean and everything. And one of my major experience from as far back then was there was this elderly woman's house I used to clean back in the day from school. I would come with my backpack. Sometimes I'll do my assignments in the bus. I lived in a very small, remote village in Belgium. So everything I had to do was outside of the village. So I had to travel about 90 minutes, 2 hours, 2.5 hours outside of where I lived to go to work or to go to school. So when I was coming back home, whenever I'm coming back home, I'm always with my backpack and a lot of the things that I'm studying in preparation for the next day for school. And this lady, I started cleaning her house. One thing she taught me how to clean really well. I remember I was always trying to manage a water for her, and the cleaning water and fluids. And she would say to me, she would say, Esther, that's not how you clean. When you clean, you need to clean with a lot of water and put a liquid in. Be generous with it, because that's the only way you can get the germs out. And I was always saving it because at home I don't use water like that, because I needed to save it so my bills are not ridiculous, isn't it? She would sit me down and have me have breaks in between. I would have breaks in between my cleaning job, my 2 hours or an hour, 30 minutes job. She would have me have breaks, and she would make me put it down on my timesheet as a working time. She said, it's good for you to talk as well. You're growing. You're a growing child, and you need to learn from the adults. You remember when I say I respect adults, I respect their age, I respect their experience. And she would tell me stories from back then, and how she owned a house at the time, and she's come from nothing into something as well through dedication and kindness. Be good people. Honestly, don't worry about people not being good to you. It's can I use the business lucrative? Can I use it's good. It's good to be good. Yeah, there's this, I love to say, it's good to be good, it's bad to be bad. Be good people. You will be rewarded for it. Don't mind those that are not good to you. Just be good person. She will bake a cake and make me a cup of tea and tell me stories that I learned from. There was a time working at McDonald's was my dream job. Working at McDonald's was my dream job. And I got the job. I eventually did. I was there for 5 years, worked at several McDonald's. I left McDonald's at the point where I was promoted and asked to go and lead a team at a different McDonald's owned by the same owner that owned the ones where I had my 5 years experience. But then out of let's say my inexperience, and at the time I used to think you had to be a certain age before you could lead people. You had to be a certain way, a certain height, to lead people. If I knew what I know now, I would have led those things. I would have led them like, oh my goodness. But I'm glad where I am right now. But then how far you've come. I've come a long way. And every job, every type of job. At some point, I worked at a restaurant, at a cafe, where they sold champagnes. I've worked at where else have I worked? Like I said before, the waiter. When I used to wait on people at restaurants, all I used to think about was, when will I be the one sitting on the other side of the table? When will I be the one being served? When will I be able, because a lot of the food I served back then when I was a waitress, I couldn't afford it. Those tiny looking portions, I could not afford it. I couldn't afford it. So every time I served someone a meal, I would say a little prayer to myself. God, please, I don't want to die without being served as well. I want to be able to afford a restaurant meal at some point. Now I love bougie things. You see me, and then for those that know me, actually know me, I love bougie lifestyle and stuff like that. I love to be, let's have nice things and think. Yeah, there were things I craved for back in the day. I'm still not. There's still a lot I want. There is still a lot I want out of life, and I'm sure you do as well. But every now and again, take time to look back where you're coming from. You're not where you were before. You're probably not where you want to be. But the fact that you can look back and see the before means today will someday be a before. And tomorrow will come and be your current situation. But another very important fact is that whatever you do today is the bedrock of tomorrow. So while you are tilling, planting, scraping, scratching, working hard, very important for you to know where you're coming from, so you can appreciate where you're going to and where you currently are, because it's taking you something. You've had to make some sacrifices. You've had to make some decisions. I remember while I was looking at myself doing those waitress jobs and those odd jobs here and there, breaking my backs, working hours. There was a time I was working here in the UK. Actually, I worked at a sales company, insurance sales company. And because obviously it wasn't enough, the salary wasn't enough for what I wanted for myself, I would go after that and I would go and do some care jobs. Now, with care jobs, support work and all of that, you can work night shifts. So sometimes I would do the night shifts. I would do the day shift at the sales company. And after work, most normal people will go home. Okay. Most normal people would go home, but I would drive to my night shift at the care company. So I barely lived at home. I was paying the rent, but I was literally living in my car, because then I would go to the night shift, make sure I had my change of clothes, my toothbrush in my bag to use. Make sure I add all of that in my bag. And then I will get, after my care job, I will dress up the next day from work to another job, from work to another job, from work to another job. Instead of identifying what exactly was I looking for, maybe just to earn more so I could pay my bills. I was probably also, then I was financially poor. I didn't not financially poor, but I wasn't financially smart. I was not financially smart. I had a lot to learn when it comes to how to manage my finances. But then I knew I wanted more, and I did more what I understood at the time. I did more of what I understood at the time in order to get me what exactly I wanted. So sometimes while we are going through those struggle days, hopefully you're getting the knowledge you need to get you to where you're going to, where you want to actually be at. But for today, my today is I have come a long way from doing those two. I had an accident once. Most people, if you know me, you probably have heard the story before as well. I had an accident once because I did a 70-hour job in a week. It was this sales job and the care job I was doing at the time. And I would drive back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And on this particular day, I'd finished my sales job in the morning and I was driving to my night shift. And I think about 11 minutes or 13 minutes away from where I was supposed to go and support a patient, I because when I get to work, I will do all the changing, the support work. You probably support your patients, or your clients, where you change them, you prepare them for bed, and then you can relax and just chill for the night. And you'll be a sleeping, or sometimes you have a sleeping night or a waking night. And most of the shifts I took at night were sleeping night, so I would sleep just in case anything happened to that person. I would be there to attend to them. And because I was obviously thinking about, I can't wait to get to that work, I was tired. I couldn't wait to get to that work, change my clients, get them ready for bed, and also kickstart my own sleeping journey as well. I was so tired that I was daydreaming about my sleeping time at work when I wasn't at work yet. So I slept off behind the wheel. Yes. I slept off behind the wheel, and yeah, obviously, you know what happened next. Yeah, my car was never a car again after that incident. And the only reason I survived that is just because God has more for me in this world. Because if I died then, I'll probably not be able to have coached the few numbers, hundreds of people that I've coached now so far, or been able to impact life the way I'm able to impact life now. So I knew there was more to my survival that night. And I just had to find and identify it to start living in my actual purpose. I was chasing a lot of money the wrong way. I should have. The wrong ways. I didn't get I've always been educated. I told you, first degree in nursing, second degree international management, and then master's degree in project management. I think at the time as well, while I was doing this 70-hour work, I was actually doing a postgraduate degree as well at Manchester Metropolitan University, leadership and management, where I had to do a lot of coursework and all of that stuff. But I was mixing all of this together because that was what I knew then. Oh gosh, I have come a long way. I have come a long way from where I was. From the toilet keeper to the cleaning job to McDonald's. There was one of my experience at McDonald's. A client spat at me. Our fries was cold. I don't know. I'm sure she was dealing with her own demons at the time as well. But she was served one way or the other cold fries. I'm sure you've experienced at one point or the other at McDonald's where you were served cold fries that wasn't as crunchy as you would like it to be. And she brought it to me, and I think she just wasn't a fan of of colored people as well. And just one thing I said, and it just came flying, poof, and landed on my face. Yeah, she spat at me. And threw the rest of the cold fries on me, obviously, which was an experience to go through. But then I look back today, still far from, like I said, and keep saying, from where I want to be, but also very far from where I am coming from. And I'm grateful to God. Knowledge, learning, working hard. I don't want to continue to work as hard as I still work, but it's my default setting. It's a setting I've always been used to. Going to school and working at the same time. I remember when I was studying nursing, my first year, second year, and third year nursing, you would have to do placements. And placement is just like working. It's an 8-hour shift you get at the hospital. But I was working, I had my day job 8 hours as well. And I would have to go to the hospital to still work and do my shifts. So I would do the 8-hour shift and I will still go to work 8 hours. So 16 hours in a day. Yeah, 16 hours. And what's left out of it? Because I still needed to transport myself back and forth. That's another one. I have, taken buses, number of buses and trains I have been a passenger on in my life is enough to last me a lifetime. So now when I say I don't want to get on a train to London, or I don't want to get on a train to anywhere, on the bus to anywhere, I know what I'm talking about. I overdid it. I overdid it. There was a time I went on a 4-hour shift. I think then I was doing support work. I went on a 4-hour shift. And it took me 4 hours to get there. Thinking back now, it took me 4 hours to get there. Obviously, I did not know the value of time at the time, because if I knew the value of time, I would understand that the 4-hour shift, it just didn't make sense. But all I was thinking about is to get on the bus, it would probably cost me £4.50 or something, going and coming back. And I was going for a £40 shift. So £10 per hour. So it made a lot of sense to me, because what I was deducting then was the £40 minus the £4.50. And I would still end up with £35.50. So that's a lot of money for someone like me. Back in the day, it was a lot. It was a whole lot. 35 quid. Oh my goodness. Just for 4 hours. It was a whole lot. So I would go to that shift and travel maybe 2 hours going and 2 hours coming back, just for 4 hours. That was what I understood. That was what I knew. Not knowing there were people, if you just had the right skills, you could apply for jobs that would pay you 35 times 10 in an hour. Just flipping my laptop open now and having a conversation with a client, I know what that is, depending on the coaching program that they're on. Or even when I go to my day job and I work as a compliance lead, or, I manage any projects within an organization, I know what I am able. But then I did not just say, where I am today, I dreamt of it. But I did not just dream about it, because dreaming without an action is just a dream. I didn't just dream about it. I started to put in work. Find, how do I get there? How do I get to this particular place? What do I need to do to get to where I want to go to? Now I'm somewhere now, maybe I dreamt about a couple years ago, but where I am right now, trust me, the dream is also farther away. But while we're doing the dreaming, while we're doing the hoping, I hope you remember to consider how long away you've come. I always say this is a reminder. My podcast is for you to remind someone you're doing good. You're doing well. You're far from where you started from. Look at that lonely girl I've mentioned several times now. But I can't wait to actually start bringing people onto the podcast to share this story as well, because I know mine is not the only kind of story out there. There is a lot of footsteps and commas and breaks in my life story and journey. And I know I'm not alone. And I know some people out there have got it different, worse, or even better than I do. But I believe my story can teach someone to believe bigger in themselves. I am a proud girl based on the things I've been able to achieve so far and where I still want to. Even the ability to dream, the type of dreams I dream now, is a win for me, sisters, misters. That I can dream the type of dreams I dream. You should hear me talk with my cool my friends, the friends I call friends. When they know Esther is always, Esther goes from A to Z. Or with family, or even with my husband. That dude he doesn't see, he is like, you know what, I don't see what you see, but I pray for you, we're gonna get there. But yeah, I'm the jet life kind of girl. I still want my private jet. I'm still gonna get it. I will get it someday, somehow. I will work to get in it. It's a goal. I want to be able to get into my own jet and not having to book a flight. So I can get to anywhere I want to go to in the world. While you're dreaming, please remember you've come a long way. And it's only going to get better. Your experiences have taught you so much. My experiences have taught me so much. Don't forget to use the knowledge to start over and build the life that you've always dreamed of. Whatever you're dreaming about, wherever you're coming from, I am that girl that I was so hungry one night, I couldn't afford to buy bread back in the day when bread would be chucked into automats, like all this, what do they call this thing? Automat is a Dutch word. It's, those dispensers, like where you could just buy the bread, not go to the store. We had a lot of that in the little village where I lived back in Belgium, and it was 75 cents, and I couldn't afford it. But every now and again, you forget some coins dropping on the sides of your chair, on your couch, somewhere under the refrigerator, under the microwave, in the house, and everything. You know what I did? That I was hungry. I didn't have food. There was nothing in the house. I had to get broom to start sweeping under the couch, checking under my in between the arms of my couch, turning the couch over so coins could fall and I could count my 75 cents so I can go and buy my bread. And those breads are always stale as well, not healthy ones. But yeah, I needed to put something in my stomach and I did not have money to do that. Those are the kind of places I've come from. Having to trek or go on my bicycle because I could not afford the bus fee. And I knew that 40 euros, 20 euros that I would get from that particular shift, I could add it to my rent just so I don't get kicked out and be homeless. That's one thing that's never happened though, on this my journey, and I pray it would never happen to me. Do you know what? Kudos to a lot of the stories I've heard of people that have ended up having to live in their car. I didn't even have a car to live in. So probably never have been an option for me to leave my car if I had become homeless. I never wanted to be homeless. So I always worked really hard and do anything I can apart from stealing to put food on the table and make sure I pay my rent. You get the opportunity here in the UK to get student loans. It was never the case in the Belgium. You get like 3,000 euros to add to whatever, but that was not, the studies wasn't 3,000 euros. So I had to work and pay my school fees. I remember there was one of my certificates I couldn't even get out. I couldn't collect because I had not finished paying my school fees. Sisters, misters, here is your reminder. You've come a long way. It's not easy to be where you are right now. You've come a long way. You've crossed many hurdles, and I am proud of you. I don't know you, but I know you're out there, sister. I know you're out there, mister. If you're listening to this right now and you're feeling a type of way because maybe you've fallen into comparison. Remember, I recorded that podcast on comparison, and you're looking at other people, or even me, and you've seen some of the amazing pictures I posted recently. That girl you're looking at has come from having nothing to eat, nothing to wear, nothing to drink, and afraid of being thrown out of her own house to where she is today. And I still have a long way to go. Learn to pay attention. When you pay attention to your now, it'll be easy to see a better future. When you pay attention to where you are coming from, it'll be easy to realize, now I can buy brioche. I can go to the store and pick up brioche. Brioche those are expensive breads, and some people will say they're not breads. I'm not even there yet. I'm not there where those fancy, those that know the fancy stuff you call brioche. But to me, still bread. But the fact that I can go to the store and pick a bag of brioche that maybe costs £2.50, £4. Sometimes when I get into that moment of realizing what I'm able to afford to put in my mouth, it takes me a minute, and I sit back and I thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Jesus. So here is something I want to say to you today. Don't wait for weekends. Don't wait for holidays. Don't wish away your days waiting for better ones ahead. Appreciate where you are. You have come a long way, and you're still growing. But thankful for the lessons and present opportunities. Take those opportunities and lessons and make the most of things today. Thank you all so much for listening once again. It's your girl Esther, and here is to 10 episodes. Guys, you have nothing to say now at this point because I am a podcaster. I am a podcaster. Bye for now. Have a great day, guys. Bye-bye now.